Welcome to Partnerships for Profit, the podcast where we bring you inside the world of joint ventures, strategic partnerships, and powerful collaborations. Each episode, you'll dive into conversations with top entrepreneurs, visionaries, and business leaders, unlocking the secrets to building profitable relationships that drive growth and success. Whether you're looking to expand your network, find new referral partners, or scale your business, you're in the right place. Let's get started.
Welcome to Partnerships for Profit, presented by Leduc Entertainment. Today we are joined by Anthony Higman, who is the CEO of AdSquire. Anthony, welcome to the show.
Hey, Adrian. Thank you so much for having me. Glad to be here.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about AdSquire?
Absolutely. So I started AdSquire about 3 years ago. A little bit about me. I'm pretty much a Google search freak. So I spend a lot of my time looking around Google to find the best strategies for our clients. And AdSquire, we're a legal marketing agency. We specialize in Google Ads. I was recently named like one of the top PPC experts in the world, so that definitely helps with with business overall. But yeah, I spend a lot of my time really just searching the SERPs, studying Google and kind of the entire big tech ecosphere to know what's changing and know what we have to change for our clients to kind of tailor those strategies. We do a lot of custom strategies, work mainly with lawyers. And over my career, I have managed over $90 million in ad spend in the legal vertical. So yeah, very, very experienced at this.
I would say so. 90 million in ad spend. Good Lord. So, can you tell me a little bit about the clients that are coming to you? When people come to AdSquire, what are some of the problems and pain points that they're experiencing? What are some of the issues you're helping them solve?
Great question. It's pretty similar for most law firms. There's kind of a few tiers of clients that we deal with. All of their main thing is they want to get as many cases as possible and grow their businesses, and that's what we help do. I would say like the number one kind of thing that I hear over and over again on pretty much every like consultation call that I have with a potential client is, hey, we've been screwed over a bunch of times by other marketing agencies. That's like always how the conversation starts.
Right.
So we've kind of, we take the opposite approach. We're very transparent, very available, and just help them with their goals. And then they really just fall in a couple of tiers. There's like bigger law firms that just want to continue to dominate or get like every case and expand. Then a larger majority of them actually are ones that just want to get 20 leads or a number of cases per month. They're not really looking to like dominate or go crazy or expand. They just want a consistent kind of case flow that's coming into their business. They don't necessarily have huge ambitions, I would say, is the majority of clients. They want 3 to 5 cases a month or something like that. And then there are, again, different kind of buckets, ones that are just starting out law firms, and then kind of the bigger players.
And can you define for us a little bit, I was going to say I'm fairly ignorant on the subject matter myself. So could you define for us a little bit, what is PPC marketing? How would you define it?
Yeah, it's funny because, again, like I'm a search nerd, and we all talk in these weird acronyms. And I find myself doing it a lot, even to prospects, and then I gotta walk it back and go, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Like, let me explain what these weird letters that I'm spouting out mean." So PPC means pay-per-click advertising, and really, it's just the ads that kind of show up at the top of search engines. So generally, when you do a search for like injury lawyer near me, criminal lawyer near me, there'll be it used to be this way. There'll be like 3 ads at the top. Those are pay-per-click ads. Basically, everything's getting a lot more complicated in the last kind of 3 years, and things are definitely getting more complicated with AI now and
right
thing. But at the base, like the easiest way is PPC is pay-per-click advertising, and what it means is that you do a search for injury lawyer, you click on one of those ads. Every time you click one of those ads, the person who's advertising pays for that click. And a lot of people don't know this. I think everybody knows these things because I talk to my team and other marketers all the time. But a lot of people don't know that like a click on a personal injury lawyer ad at the top of Google can be like $500 for just one click on that ad at the top.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's very wild.
So can you outline for us maybe what are some of the unique benefits of pay-per-click advertising, and what are some of the challenges with pay-per-click advertising?
Absolutely, great question. So the unique benefit, which is really unmatched, is that when someone's looking for a thing, you can show up at the very top of Google search results, right?
Right.
That there really hasn't been an advertising product until kind of Google created this pay-per-click format that does that has the ability to get right up in front of people when they're actively looking for that thing. So that's the number one benefit.
Right.
You're shown, you're in front of them. There's lots of other benefits that come with that. Downsides, I would say, again, like our costs. As kind of more competition gets in, those costs can inflate. And then there's a lot of like weird things with pay-per-click advertising, like click fraud and like sales and all this kind of other stuff that comes with the internet that you kind of just wouldn't even think about. But there are some problems. Google does a really good job of like stopping click fraud. But there's all just these other headaches that kind of can come with it. But really, at its core, it's literally the best advertising format, and really is like a direct response, provides amazing results if done right, and can really like skyrocket a law firm if they've never used it before. Can be so powerful to really help at really any kind of business. To get more business and grow their business. So it's amazing ad format.
And I kind of want to double down on that question a little bit. What are some of the unique challenges when it comes to advertising for a law firm? That's a little bit different than advertising for anything else, right?
It is. There are many, but I'll start with like the most common one. Law firms and like medical things are what Google has categorized as sensitive ad categories. And what they mean by that is they don't want to like target people by their hardships, and like a type of injury or anything injury or medical can be like a little bit creepy with some of the things that you can do in Google. And so these categories are categorized as a sensitive ad category. And there's certain limitations to what you can do as a law firm. But again, you can still target keywords and show up at the top. And that's the really powerful part. What I'm talking about more is like there are certain areas, it's mainly not in the United States, where you really can't even advertise these kind of things. And then with Google, like there's a thing called remarketing. And what that means is like if somebody clicks an ad and goes to your website, they can get cookied or get a little code on their profile, and then you can serve them like other ads that follow them around. I'm sure you're familiar with these, right? Like you look for a watch and then you go to websites and it's watches all over the sides.
Right.
That's remarketing. So you can't do that anymore for these kind of sensitive ad categories. And I get that. So I don't think it's really a huge loss. Really, like the main thing for me is search, which is just those ads that show up at the top of Google search when you're actively looking for the thing.
See, I was going to say, everybody calls me crazy. I've got an Alexa sitting in the other room, right? And I play harmonica. And it's a weird thing that every time I say, I'm going to practice my harmonica today, and I practice the harmonica and the Alexa's right there, then I get online and all of a sudden there's all these ads for harmonicas.
Yeah. So they've debunked this a bunch of times, but I'm not gonna lie, it happens to me too. me and the team were talking about licorice the other day, and the next day I got a bunch of licorice ads, and it was not typed anywhere. It was
Right.
just and we suddenly get
just a little coincidental licorice.
So I mean, there definitely could be something there. There's been a lot of stories recently. There was like an Apple thing where they did settle a case related to this. So I think there's nothing concrete that says that it works like that, but there's lots of coincidences, and I think we've all kind of experienced that. So I don't know. I can't say one way or the other. It's definitely weird. It's definitely weird.
So you were managing the advertisement for a pretty prominent law firm.
Correct.
Before you transitioned to run AdSquire. What inspired that transition to AdSquire? Was there a moment where you thought, I need to create something of my own? I need to found something? How did that transpire?
Absolutely. So starting my own business was always kind of a dream of mine. It's funny, the law firm that I actually used to work at, I can literally see from my window now. It's like literally right.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I started there actually, I started there in the mailroom, and I worked my way up to running all of their digital advertising. And that's kind of like how I got into this field, and everything kind of just clicked when I found pay-per-click advertising and Google Ads and Bing Ads. And it was sort of more of a progression for me, to be honest with you. Like I said, started in the mailroom, really kind of struggled to work my way up to that position. After that, I left and was the director of paid search at a different legal marketing agency. And at that agency, I hired and built a team of 10 people, trained them up, and then worked there. And then I was like 36, and I was like, hey, if I don't start my own thing by the time I'm 40, I might not ever do it. And so I just said, I got to take that leap. I got accepted to this program called the Emerging Leaders through the Small Business Administration. And I met a bunch of other CEOs through that. And they were actually my first clients.
Wow.
So it was kind of that progression in steps up, but it was always a dream to have my own business. And here we are. And I did it. So it's cool.
Can we talk a little bit more about that? What was it like going through the small business program? What is it? The U.S. Small Business Administration's?
It was US SBA Emerging Leaders Program is what it's called. It's kind of like, I'm going to blank on this. There's another one. It's like the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses. They're both very similar programs. It was an executive MBA program, a 7-month program, pretty intensive. It was like 3 nights a week for like 4 hours.
Wow.
And I actually I had to apply to that, and I got accepted out of like 300 people. And it was a class of 20.
Oh,
so
wow.
I was like, oh, that's really awesome. Like I honestly, I applied. I never thought I would get it. And that kind of also like gave me confidence to start my own thing. Like the fact that I was accepted, and then when I got in, meeting all the other CEOs, and there were CEOs doing like at least 3 million in business, and I learned a ton from them, and I also taught them a ton because none of them really knew. It's funny, like people are aware of like Google advertising, but it's almost like an afterthought until somebody kind of starts talking about it. And a lot of the businesses that were in this class were looking to grow and get to that next thing. And I was like, oh, you got to run Google Ads. And so I talked about it every time I was there and about kind of my plans. And it just worked out that it was the perfect environment to both help businesses grow and help me kind of start my business. And so cool story on that. We had these little CEO mentoring groups, and actually my CEO mentoring group was made up of 3 other CEOs. The first one was the owner of a preschool in Philadelphia. And so I told her about Google Ads. She was like, hey, I want to do it. Like, help me. And so she had a really tiny preschool. I think it was like she had like 30 students and was really looking to grow. So we took her on. We got her, I think it was 60 students within like the first 30 days. She got a $1 million government grant for filling spots. And then we got like another 100 students, and she's still a client. We've been like,
wow.
She actually opened up a completely other preschool, like a whole new building. So it was really cool. And I think we got her $2 million government grant. So
oh my God.
Yeah. So that was awesome. The other CEO was also a client. He ran like an envelope manufacturing business. And then the other one was like an environmental engineer. And his son was actually my first hire, who's still a member of our team and like an amazing team member. Yeah. So really that was like an amazing experience, and really has kind of catapulted my growth with that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, and you mentioned over 90 million in ad spend.
Correct.
So obviously you're very experienced doing this. And I was wondering, throughout your years of doing this, are there any trends in the legal marketing space that you have seen kind of come and go? And I guess furthermore, to tack on to that, to make it an extra convoluted question, what trends do you think will emerge?
Great questions. Trends. Yeah, I'm trying to think of like the big kind of legal marketing trends beyond just kind of expansion. I would say probably that's the biggest one, right? Is law firm expansion, and what I mean by that is, let's say that there's a law firm in Florida, and they've kind of capped out the Florida marketplace, and they want to expand into other states or nationally. That's a trend that I've seen for the last 14 years that I've been in this, probably accelerate over the past 10 years. And I'll say this name and maybe it'll make sense to you, is like Morgan & Morgan.
Right.
They're a Florida law firm, but they are in tons of states now. And while that is a trend, it really is also a headache for other local law firms, because, and I'm not like knocking it. It's kind of like, it's business. People want to expand. They want to conquer new places, new verticals, kind of all these new things. But it can be disruptive for local law firms that are trying to compete that aren't as big.
Right.
That definitely kind of is a theme that I've seen, and that I do think is going to continue, is kind of consolidation of law firms. And then on like the internet side, it kind of does in unison tie together. Like Google's changing a lot. Things are getting more expensive. And so I do see kind of the bigger players are going to be the ones with staying power, and they may kind of start to gobble up some of these smaller law firms along the way. So those are kind of some big trends that I've seen in both online and kind of just law firms in general, law firm marketing.
So say a law firm is getting ready to roll out a pay-per-click campaign, right? A PPC campaign. What are some of the strategies that they need to implement to ensure that that is an effective and, I guess, beneficial campaign, to ensure that it's a success?
Sure. So tons of weird details and caveats in this statement, but and everybody has their own opinion here. But in my opinion, there's kind of two things that are really important right now in the legal vertical, and it's, again, pay-per-click ads, and the new one is called local services ads. And that's like a different platform, but it's also run through Google. And it shows up at the very top of Google search results, and it's got like this green check mark. So kind of having both of these platforms, and then like in terms of setting up an effective pay-per-click campaign, it would be, and this is a weird time for you to ask me, because I'm changing in Google, but I still believe and abide kind of by these strategies, and we implement them. Is it depends on your budget, but you want to set something like tight and local to where you're advertising. You want your locations to be targeted and precise. You want to make sure you got the right keywords and that they're also targeted and precise. And you want to make sure that you're adding in like negative keywords, so you're blocking searches that you don't want to show up for. And I'm still a proponent of kind of manual strategies so that you can get the most bang for your buck. A lot of Google is becoming very automated, which can be good, but it can also be bad. It's easier for people to set up, but it can waste some money in there. And so depending upon your budget, you want to be careful. And my recommendation for most law firms would be to concentrate on search, because there's a lot of like new campaign types that are out there that Google's pushing, but really like where the bread and butter is people who are going to Google and looking up injury lawyer, and that's just pure search. There's all these kind of different campaigns, but concentrating on search campaigns would be my number one tip.
It's kind of interesting, and it's a bit of a deep dive there. And I think I'd like to, kind of go a little further down that path, I guess. Right. And I'm curious, now you're talking about these strategies that you're setting up for these firms. Is it sort of, if a firm comes to AdSquire, right, and they need help with a campaign or marketing or whatever the case may be, is it a one size fits all approach, or are the strategies really custom tailored to the needs of the individual firm?
Yeah, kind of both. By that I mean it depends. Like there's definitely things that are custom. Obviously each firm has its own individual identity, right, and like their selling points, but a lot of these things do kind of meld and have similarities. Like everybody's a super lawyer or best lawyers, right? Like everybody's got those trust badges. For where it would depend is budget dependent, right? What's their budget and what are they trying to accomplish? And that's where like these small details come in. So what I always ask is like, hey, what's the goal here? What are we trying to do? Right.
Right.
Not everybody can answer that question, to be honest with you, which is also an interesting tidbit that I've kind of picked up along the way. A lot of people don't know they want you to point them in the right direction. I try to hone in on, hey, like, okay, how many cases are you trying to get? That kind of helps them. And they're like, okay, we want all of them, or we want, I want 10, or I want 5 car accident cases a month. So that'll kind of help me with budget. And then the strategy aspects are budget dependent. So if a firm says, hey, we want to dominate, then I am going to use all of these campaign types in our arsenal, right? If a firm has a really small budget, I'm going to concentrate on search and a couple other like really tiny campaigns. But yeah, it is very much budget dependent is kind of what dictates strategy, because a lot of the firms, they kind of do blend together in that they have a lot of the same selling points. Some have like a lot of PR or news that always really helps a firm. And it's like something that we can market. But yeah, in terms of like actual internet advertising strategies, where the weird details come in and like how I'm going to build a campaign, what keywords I'm going to pick, what kind of area I'm going to target, that is budget dependent. And it's funny because a lot of people miss this one thing in Google Ads is like the client goes, I'm a lawyer in New Jersey and I want, 5 car accident cases a month. And some agencies might just target all of New Jersey, right? And they go, oh, my budget's $5,000, right? Some agencies will target all of Jersey. And there's this kind of equation that goes into internet advertising in like the size of the area that you're targeting and what that population is is an equation that goes into how quickly your budget's going to be depleted. And so again, like that's where these the aspects come in. Like if you're targeting all of New Jersey and this law firm has one office location in South Jersey, you're going to be wasting a lot of clicks on people that go, oh, that's way too far for me. I'm not going to go to this firm. And this is another like weird one too, is like, while it's 2025 and most law firms nowadays do everything over a Zoom call or an internet portal, for some reason, consumers still want a local law firm, even though they'll never go there. Literally, 90% of them will never step foot in the lawyer's office, but there's still this weird kind of like connection to, I want somebody that's down the street, pretty close by. So these are kind of just things, I picked up along the way that are nuanced.
Right. They want the option to be able to walk in if they have to.
That actually might be what it is.
So what would you say, and I know this is going to be a loaded question, but what would you say sets AdSquire apart from other digital marketing agencies in your space?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question. And I actually do know the answer to this one. We're just passionate search nerds. And so, I kind of started this podcast off by telling you how much I actually like search online for the keywords that our clients bid on, right? And we have clients across all kind of verticals in law. We have business lawyers, we have criminal lawyers, a lot of personal injury, workers' comp. So we have all these different things. What sets us apart is that we're nerds and passionate about this. And so I end up, by doing all these searches on my own in like different devices and different Wi-Fi networks, I actually find these like minuscule changes that Google is making to the search results page.
Yeah.
Give us insights before anybody else has them. Mm-hmm. And so in the last 2 years, I've been mentioned and have I think it's now like 200 articles about like in industry publications about the new weird things that I find. So I'll find like new tests. The best example for this is the latest one that I found is Google's doing this experiment where if I type in personal injury lawyer, they're serving the same advertiser's ad twice on the Google search results page. So serving them at the top and then again at the bottom. And this is a really big one. It's a big change because Google's policies state that you can't double serve. It's like it creates like a competitive disadvantage. So it's against their policies. And I found this test where they're actively double serving everybody. Wow. And so like we're just really zoomed in and find these kind of things before other people find them. And Google's always changing everything on the search results page. If I'm always really good. I was always good at those puzzles where it's like 2 pictures, what's different in this one,
right.
5 things that are different. I've always been great at those, and so like I can see, oh my god, that's new, or oh, what are they doing here? And again, like these really tiny changes to the platform, some of them are really big, can give you a competitive advantage if you can move fast enough. And we also have like a small team that's still nimble, and we talk and get excited about these things. And so that's what sets us apart 100%. It's just kind of being on those weird little details and going, all right, how do we use this? All right, well, let's test it and move.
Right. Well, and you mentioned that you have been recognized as one of the top 50 most influential pay-per-click. Is this correct? And how did this all come about? That you were one of the top PPC marketers? How did this come about?
Yeah, I actually think it's well, okay. Another good question. I never used social media ever. I used it. Let me correct myself. I used it. I was a lurker basically until I started AdSquire. And when I started AdSquire, I got into Twitter and I started tweeting these things that I would find, right? I go, hey, Google just changed the order of local services ads, or hey, Google's putting competitors in lawyers' Google My Business profiles, and I found my people kind of like, we have a team, we're small, and we're all passionate search nerds, but I had no idea that there was this larger community of people like me, right? And so the things that I started tweeting about really kind of resonated with the larger pay-per-click community, which I had no idea even existed.
Right.
And that's how I started kind of getting mentioned in these publications and podcasts. And little by little, I just got more recognition that I was one of these top people.
Wow.
And I didn't even know. I was like, I was good at what I did. I knew I made all my clients a ton of money. But I didn't know, I was one of the top 50 in the world. And I guess I am. I'm just passionate about it. You know what I mean? And so that was a progression. I started tweeting all these nuanced things of really all the information I had learned throughout my entire career. Right. And a lot of it, even some of these other like top pros didn't know. And because I'm so niched down, a lot of pay-per-click experts kind of do everything, right? A lot of them navigate towards e-commerce, which is like a really kind of huge area of internet advertising. But because I'm so niched down into just legal, I see all of these things, and I know kind of some different things that other people didn't know. And when I started dropping those bombs, I just got, acknowledged and recognized for it.
What advice would you give to someone looking to specialize in PPC marketing, especially as it pertains to some of these more niche industries like the legal industry?
Yeah, I would say, get into AI. Because it's all changing now. I feel kind of like a dinosaur. We test, we adapt. We're getting into it more. Me kind of more begrudgingly.
Right.
But that's where it's going. Like, it's very clear the writing's on the wall. Google is sort of dumbing the ad platform down. And I get it too. I get that, they're trying to get more adoption for it and for it to be easier for a larger audience of business owners. Like, they want to go direct to business owner. It kind of seems sometimes like they want to cut us out. I think it's going to be a while. But where it's going, like what we see is search is changing. We're really at a weird inflection point right now. I'm sure you're aware, maybe not, of kind of these bigger overall internet changes, which is like all kind of AI based. When ChatGPT came out, then kind of Google started this war against OpenAI and did the AI overviews, and all of their initiatives for this year and the past 3 years have been really AI forward. And so again, like a lot of it is changing, and that it's let me correct myself. It's changing, and it's not like
right.
What it's gonna be is brand, and like it's kind of always been Google's thing, like build a brand and then advertise. Whereas like to this date, there's always been like these weird kind of competitive tactics that you can do with Google Ads and stuff. That's kind of going away. So it kind of is switching back more to brand. And we kind of talked about that with like law firm consolidation, but it's really going to be more about brand presence and differentiators for your brand, more than it's going to be about the tactics and weird things that I know about, because everything is becoming more automated, and I see it kind of continuing to go that way.
Anthony, this has been an awesome conversation. If anybody out there listening could use your help, use the services of AdSquire, where can the people find you?
They can go to adsquire.com. They can give us a call at 267-777-8004, or they can email us at ads@adsquire.
Anthony, thank you so much for stopping by the show. This has been absolutely great. And this has been Partnerships for Profit, presented by Leduc Entertainment. Anthony, thank you so much again. This was awesome.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Partnerships for Profit. We hope you've gained valuable insights on how to form profitable partnerships and take your business to the next level. Be sure to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts so you never miss an episode. Got a partnership story to share or someone you'd like to see featured on the show? Reach out to us. Until next time, keep building those partnerships for profit.